to ya. Good morning to you. We got the goofy glasses on today. It is Thursday, December 14th. Thursday. Welcome to Migrant Mayhem from Land Cruiser Midwest. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We got a good show for you today. Awesome show. You're not going to believe what is going on here in Chirac. Let's bring the music down and get started. Holy cow. This is going to be a good show today. Oh my God. Our tyrant Brandon is at it again. I think yesterday I told you guys that he was looking to start impounding buses. He's like a little guy with Tonka trucks. He's going to start collecting buses now. So supposedly, according to one of our news sources here, he's obtained his first bus. So let's look in at that. And we've got some. He actually speaks to the media. So it's amazing. So let's look at the first video. It's a short one. He talks about he's got his first bus.
Korean words that sound just like it.
So let's go here. We'll cue this one up for you guys. I hope you're having a good day, and let's stop this one. We gotta get the whole thing because it's really short.
And we have just learned in the last couple of hours that the city of Chicago has impounded a migrant bus for the first time. The city council passing a measure today to start impounding buses that do not obtain a permit from CDOT and don't drop the migrants off at the designated landing zone. Now, after the vote, Mayor Johnson spoke about the need for the ordinance to make sure new arrivals are brought to an area where city employees are ready to help.
Putting these companies on notice that this blatant disregard of the city regulations will not be tolerated.
The mayor telling us tonight that multiple buses could be impounded.
Watch breaking news on
There
YouTube.
you go.
Subscribe to ABC7 Chicago.
There you go. That's Brandon talking about how he's going to start collecting buses. Here's one where I still think this is, they say that the Brighton Park build out failure is only going to cost the city $1 million. I find that very hard to believe. And I think all the bills aren't in yet on that one. So let's look at Fox and what they have to say.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson about the failed Brighton Park migrant site. The question is this: how much money has been lost on the project?
Blown away, folks. Lost.
With more.
Flushed.
We have the answer to that question. We are learning close to $1 million.
Yeah, it's more than that.
City. The exact figure is $985,000. The state is supposed to foot a good portion of that bill, but the city of Chicago.
Somebody's abacus is out of whack.
Brandon Johnson explained what the city is paying for.
The remediation that was needed, obviously the workforce, all of that.
Notice, I'm going to replay this. Notice how he stumbles through this. So I think somebody's hiding something somewhere, right? So listen to how he's talking. He's not real confident, and Brandon is always confident. So I think I can see right through this. This dude's lying.
For
the remediation that was needed. Obviously the workforce, all of that, the contracts to remediate, and again, the workforce.
City officials said the site was safe to house as many as 2,000 migrants. The winterized
You comment below what you think, but I think he's lying right through his teeth. Brandon is never stumbling on his words, and we just saw it here. He was stumbling quite a bit. So let's finish up this video.
Tent City was being constructed on a 9.5-acre lot located at 38th and California Avenue, right in the Brighton Park community, and was the topic of heated debate for months. Last week, Governor J.B. Pritzker made the final call to fold up those tents, stopping construction after state experts uncovered serious environmental concerns upon review of a nearly 800-page report. The announcement came after the city claimed the site was safe to use for migrants, but the report listed mercury, arsenic, lead, and other contaminants on the site.
We made this commitment to assess this site and multiple sites. As far as, what else we're responsible for, our team is in conversations, particularly with this site, with the owner, as we move forward, because, clearly, at least at this moment, that site, we're not moving forward with it.
Both the mayor and governor have remained tight-lipped about specific future shelter sites for migrants, but we have learned they are nearing confirmation of unoccupied buildings owned by Archdiocese of Chicago. Live tonight, Tia Ewing, Fox 32 Chicago.
So there you have it. They're heading back to working with the Pope. We're going to work with the Pope. So here we got a CBS 2. So Brandon had a press conference yesterday, I guess, after he did some things in the city council. I think the city council's meeting today to talk about sanctuary city status. So I don't know. It's let me get rid of these glasses. These glasses are driving you guys nuts. So here you go. I'll take the goofy glasses off. So Brandon's on the hot seat again. I mean, he's just a tyrant. So now he's collecting buses, and as I told you guys, you heard it here. Not only are there buses coming into Chicago, there's airplanes coming into Chicago. And those are loaded up with illegals too. So the faucet's flowing. The faucet is flowing. They're going to be here all winter. I hope that they know how to make a snowball. Maybe we can have some good igloos made for these people. Yeah. I hope they come dressed warmly. And if you watch yesterday's videos, we checked out New York City. We checked out Colorado. And you're definitely going to see whatever's happening in New York City, you're going to see happen here in Chicago. So I'm expecting to be a shortage of food for the migrants and for the homeless. You're going to see that happen real quick. And we're already, they're not telling you, there's a money crunch going on in this state. There's a big money crunch. And that's going to become clearly evident as we move forward into next year. You're going to see money become an issue too, just like New York City. So let's look at some more comments by the tyrant himself. We rarely get to see him speak. So here's a case where he actually talked to the media.
Tomorrow, the City Council will discuss Chicago's status as a sanctuary city going to the voters. Today was a busy one at City Hall. The mayor was questioned by our Sabrina Franza about the ongoing migrant crisis, and Sabrina is live now at City Hall for us tonight. Sabrina?
Joe, we've been covering the migrant crisis daily, and oftentimes we'll meet people who will ask questions about what this means for the city and how much it's costing the taxpayer. They ask us the same question that we posed to the mayor.
A lot.
Was the tent base camp plan a mistake?
Watch how he works around this. You got to think about it.
There were 4,000 people that were living in police districts and the airport. 4,000. Sleeping outside on the floor. Now, could I ask a different question? Is it a mistake to not address the crises, to not plan for it?
In a press briefing that
he
followed
didn't
City
plan
Council
for it. That's
today,
why he was
Mayor
rushing
Brandon
to
Johnson
fix
fronted
it.
questions about the migrant crisis. When asked about almost $1 million the city spent on a tossed Brighton Park migrant tent plan, a plan that was sacked by the state because of environmental concerns, he explained what those funds were used for.
The remediation that was needed, obviously the workforce, all of that the contracts to remediate and again the workforce.
Our sources say that number is actually much higher. Still, not a cent of it, the mayor says, went towards Garda World, the company that installed the tents. Governor J.B. Pritzker says Garda World ate the cost of the setup and takedown.
They knew as they were building this shelter before the environmental report came in that it was
Garda World, they
the
got
environmental
40 million already out of us.
The completion, rather, of the shelter.
This is
so
just chump change to them.
They were willing to take that liability.
That money doesn't include the lease the city is still paying for at 38th in California, $91,400 a month. On the far south side, at a lot the city purchased for $1 and is not renting, the plan for tents is still on ice. Smaller brick and mortar spaces and churches have supplies.
So here you go. This is how things work in the business world, folks. Either Garda World is going to, well, they already have a contract for like 30 million. They just said here that tents are on ice. So Garda World's either going to get paid the money that they're due just because of the contract, or when they put up another tent, they'll get paid double. So they just work it out in the paperwork. They just charge extra for the second tent and they won't charge for the first tent. That's how that works. So I'm here to tell you that's how the business world works. And everyone saves face here, and Garda World gets the same amount of money.
It's space for migrants to stay in the meantime. Only the 12th District Police Station still has migrants staying there.
As I continue to do, we have stood up shelters. I think we're up to 26, almost 30 shelters.
The state of Illinois has promised to turn a former CVS into a shelter to house around 200 migrants. A tent base camp would house upwards of 1,500 people. There are just under 600 migrants who are awaiting temporary shelter in the city of Chicago right now. We're live outside City Hall. Sabrina Franza, CBS 2 News.
So Brandon's got good things and bad things. He's got 30 shelters now, but his management of those 30 shelters is a little more difficult because if they don't have kitchens in them, he's got to make the food somewhere. Let me turn this off for you guys. He's got to make food somewhere and he's got to transport it to 30 different places. He's paying rent for 30 different places. So he's got physical limitations with these 30 places. So they're just, that 30 is going to grow into 40. And the faucet's not turned off, folks. The buses are still coming. And the only thing he's doing to slow it down is he's threatened to impound a few buses. And he's going to do that, which is going to cause them to slow a little bit, give them some extra time to get through the holidays and to get some more shelters ready. The problem is right now he still has people at one district, right? But you shouldn't be having people living in police stations and outside during the day. That's the real problem. He doesn't admit it here, but going into the fall, they knew they needed to have a plan. They didn't have a plan, and this is what happened. This is what happens when you don't have a plan. So, like I said, the financial crisis and the fallout's just starting to roll. You're going to see that happen. And I think the city of Chicago is meeting today. They're going to argue about the sanctuary city status. Brandon truly thinks that Chicago should be a sanctuary city. I mean, come on, folks. I'm going to explain to you what progressivism is. Progressives like Brandon, all they want to do is cause chaos and eliminate the middle class. They want to have an upper level rich class and a working poor class. That's all they want. Because when they have the poor working class and they don't have a middle class, they can control everyone. They have control over everyone. They can control what you get. They control everything. It's all a control play. That's what progressivism is all about, and that's what I'm here to tell you about. So it's bad for the Democratic Party in Chicago has been hijacked by the progressives, and the people don't even realize it. People are starting to realize it. People are starting to wake up and understand that their government doesn't work for them anymore. It works against them. That's what's happening in Chicago. The Democratic Party has been hijacked, and it's starting to work against the people it's supposed to serve. That's what's happening, folks, and that's what I'm here to tell you. So that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed some comments by Brandon, and he's a tyrant. He is nothing more than a tyrant. As I've said before, I live in the suburbs of Chicago. I have no desire to go into the city. I see what's happening in the city of Chicago. Not only the mess that Brandon here is making, the tyrant, but the crime, the rise in crime. I just saw an article where some guy strangled his girlfriend who was with child, and he dumped her out in the suburbs a couple of weeks ago. They finally found that guy. That is just one example of the type of stuff, the unraveling of Chicago, the drive-by pew-pews, the daily pew-pews, the stabbings, a little bit of everything going on. Check out the news. Check out CBS, NBC, and ABC of Chicago news, and you'll get a taste of what it's like living in Chicago. And hey, even if you're a tourist, I saw there was some stuff happening on Michigan Avenue last week with some violence and people getting hurt. So it's not a safe city anymore, folks. It's turning into a hellscape downtown Chicago. Okay. Like, share, and subscribe. Land Cruiser Midwest. This is Migrant Mayhem. We're going to bring you some more. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for the views. Channel is slowly growing, but we want you guys to be notified when we put out new videos. And if you subscribe, that's what's going to happen. Okay? Subscribe and ring the bell. Thank you. DJ Wonder Chrissy.